Alright, I'm going to do this again. 14 minutes is too long for a quick update. So, uh, originally started this in Blueprints. Like I made a Blueprint class AI controller. I got Sense working in it. And then I switched over to C++ because I need to learn C++. And it has taken me longer than it should, but it's starting to click. Alright, so this is where I'm at so far. So I created original pawns. Again, we're blueprints. So I had to recreate them as C++ classes. Here's my AI controller class, and then these are functions for the behavior tree. Find a random location. This is used for the initial behavior where they just pick a random location in the nav mesh and move there. When they sense the player, this sets the target location to where they saw the player. And this function, they use that target location to chase the player until you lose sight of them, right? That's all in the behavior tree. So let's look at Visual Studio here, and I'll show you where we're at. First, we're storing all the Blackboard keys in a separate file, so these could be pulled. Just include this .h, and in this namespace we have all the keys, and then those actually are visible in the editor, right? So here's the controller, the .h for the controller. This initializes the AI controller. This does the begin play override. On possess is on possess. I need to research that and see exactly what that's honestly in there, just because the tutorial said to do it. So I'm going to read about that. And this gets the Blackboard component from the AI, so we can reference it to pull keys and stuff like that, set keys, values. Behavior tree component, behavior tree itself, the Blackboard, and this configures the site sense. Unupdated, actually, not using. Traded to that for on target detected, and then this sets up the variables, the initial values for the site. So over to the C++ here. Here's all the includes. Boy, there's a lot of them for perception and AI. And here's the Blackboard keys, right? So we can reference that namespace. The constructor for the AI controller. It's pretty simple. This sets the Blackboard to the Blackboard on that controller, the behavior tree on that controller, and then this sets up the initial values for the site. And I'll add the sound, the hearing, to this when I expanded the hearing next week. There's the super, blah blah blah. Let's see, on possess, if the Blackboard is valid, like there's actually a Blackboard, we initialize the Blackboard. This returns the Blackboard component. See, this is the one we're not using, right? And then here's the target detected. If it's a player, if the player for this game, which I need to change this, we're going to be able to package it as a plugin. You mentioned something about casting and references and pointers. It may not be usable as a plugin. I'll figure that out later. That was kind of like a pipe dream anyway. We set the Blackboard key can see player to true. And then I have one for, I'm going to use this one for faction A's AI controller. I got to make one for each of the factions. It shows B, C, and D. So it can see B, C, and D, right? And this sets those to true. Let's see, set up the perception system, site config. It sets up the configuration object, sets the perception component, and then here it sets the base values. It's got a 500 unit radius, peripheral vision of 90 degrees. It loses sight at 50 feet or 50 units past 500. And the affiliations for the 3 included teams are all set to true, so it sees everybody. Sets the dominant sense to sight. On target perception updated. It runs on target detected, and configures the sense to site config. Showed you that. See, AI plugin. This is the character.h, which I needed for the stimuli component. So the stimuli source component is set up here, and then this is function to set up the stimulus. And where's the player CPP? Here we are. So in the constructor, basically all the stuff that comes with it, and then here we run setup stimulus in the constructor, and then down here it creates the stimuli source component basic object, registers it for sight, and then registers the component with the perception system so that the AIs can see it and act to it. Now the functions that we created, random location. So it just finds a random location in the navigable mesh right here, right? And then sets it to the target location in the blackboard, the behavior tree. The chase player, well, let's get to the find player location first. Find player location is the same thing, except for it gets the player character, and then it gets the controller for the pawn that sensed it or whatever. I'm still trying to figure that out. Yes, I'm going to mumble a little bit. And then it gets the player location, uses an origin point. And then if random search is true, it just moves around. Else, it sets the player location to the target location and then goes. And then the chase player takes that player location and moves to it. Pretty simple stuff, really. It took me forever to figure out how to get it to work, even following the thing. So that's what we have so far. Back into the editor. So the behavior tree starts at the root, comes down here. If can see player is false, it runs go to random location. So it finds the location, moves to it, and then waits, and then does it again. If during this time, with the decorator, we set this to both, so at any point, if that value changes to true, it aborts everything here and runs can see player. So it can see the player, so then it chases. So it finds the player location again, uses it as target location, then chases the player. And this will continue until you break line of sight, and then it pops back to here. And it works. I'm sorry about the dog. Here's the blackboard keys we have set up so far. And the children in the background too. So yeah, I said the pawns are just a basic mesh with an arrow showing the direction they're facing. And then I set up a simple arena here. Well, this is kind of cheating. Let's move this one. Gonna move those so they can fit through there. So I set the pawns up, and they're going to start pathing, and then I'll show you what happens. So we're in here. There they are. They're moving around. They don't react to each other yet. All right, so he saw me. Now he's chasing me. Come on, ball. Whoop. Ball now. Ooh, I've got 3 of them on my tail. So, I managed to lose some by tricking them against each other. And I got that one jammed up on the building. Ooh, now I got the cone chasing me. So that does work, and you can break line of sight using the terrain. Come on, follow me around here. Rump. So I broke line of sight, and it stopped chasing me. I need to make it a little more persistent somehow. Like I may have it. Oops, hey guys. Oh, fell off. Anyway, so that part all works. So everything works so far. I know I'm using pawns to have another character just because I wanted to, just something simple. Just these basic meshes. I don't have to deal with animation states or that crap. So next comes factions. I'm gonna create an AI controller for each one of these separately and have it react to each faction differently. Either chase it or run away from it. And then I'll move on from there, but that's my goal for next week. So, all right, thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later.